Welcome everybody to Stuck in the Mail podcast, episode 47. We're getting pretty close to 50, and we have the J.S.D band. Not a great name, but this is a Scottish folk group, and J.S.D stands for Jim, Sean, and I believe Des, D-E-S.
Okay. I mean, I think everyone has to have at least one, band in their history that was some, the initials of the members.
Yeah, I mean, you know what matters here is the music and the strength of the music. The fact that they couldn't come up with a good band name is fine.
Sure.
But
So,
I always remember it because JSD, not LSD, JSD.
yeah, I confess I can never remember what it is, and I always have to look it up. Um,
It's kind of annoying.
tell me again, because you shared the story of how you came across them in our last episode, but do you mind sharing that again?
Yeah, I think that's the great starting point. So I actually got this in Scotland and Edinburgh, and if you can read that up there, I got it at a thrift store, which they're known there as Oxfams. And it was a recommendation actually. And what this is it's kind of like the Pogues, if you've ever heard them. They're a very Irish group, but have a lot of modern elements. In their case, very punk, very energetic. And I think this band was known for their energy too, but more of the traditional sounds of Scotland.
Right. Traditional, but also there are some kind of prog elements to it as well. Like there are a couple of really interesting songs that I don't know, venture a little bit afield, and I enjoy the
Oh yeah.
combination of the two a lot.
Oh yeah, this was a good springboard from Doc Watson because now we're into traditional music of an older variety. Although there is some traditional Americana on this as well. So we have a Scottish group being influenced by traditional Americana. Uh,
Yep.
not, I shouldn't be saying Americana, but folks, roots Appalachian music. Okay.
Yeah, there's the overlap of the traditional music. I mean that you can trace it directly from Europe to I mean, it's a
Oh yeah.
couple of these songs in particular, I was messaging you where I was like, "Oh, that sounds like this one," but it's kind of mixed with that one, and that's how it happens. Is these songs
Mhm.
made their way over the ocean and morphed and changed and became, it's super interesting to hear on the heels of Doc.
Yeah, these songs are as old as the hills, as we covered last time, and some of these are much older than those hills.
Right.
But so the lineup on here to get into the meats and potatoes of things, we have. I want to go over the instrumentation here to kind of give a feel for what type of band this is, because it's not a rock band. This is a completely different thing. So we have Jim Divers. He was guitar, cello, bass, and vocal. All the three main guys do vocal. Then we have Des Caulfield, piano, tenor, and it says G banjo. So two types of banjo. I don't know what a G banjo would be. Guitar banjo, maybe?
Okay.
Guitar and vocal. Then we have Sean O'Rourke, who's one of the main songwriters. He's fiddle, again, G banjo, guitar and vocal. And then they later added two more guys, Colin Finn on percussion and glockenspiel, and Chuck Fleming on secondary fiddle, generally in their songs. And I can just picture these guys playing in pubs,
Yeah.
and they were known for being a rowdy band. They were known for being a raucous group. They're playing in the corner, and people in the pub who are just sitting there drinking their pint or whatever start really tapping their toes. And actually, English famous underground, not underground, but famous DJ John Peel, who was like, whoever he picked was whoever made it. And he wasn't much for Scottish music per se, but he loved these guys. He's like, these guys are bringing back an energy to music that's needed right now. And here's where it really catalysts. They must have been doing something right here. What is this? 71, I believe. This is the first album we're covering, but by 72, Bowie is in his Ziggy thing, and he's going out on his UK leg, I believe before the US leg. And who does he take on tour? These guys. If you can imagine that. These
Yeah,
guys opened up for Bowie when he was Ziggy. So most rock, most glam, most flamboyant, and then he's got these Scottish guys opening.
that is a cool connection for sure. And was this not, tell me the timeline here, because like I know Fairport Convention was pretty popular around then, doing some traditional music. Richard
Oh yeah.
Thompson, like what's the timeline
Yeah.
here?
I think these guys are a little later. I think Fairport really started in like what, 68 or so. And with them, I mean, they're really tied to being British, are they not? I mean,
Yeah,
sure, they have these crossover elements of traditional that, Celtic music flows into England. It's kind of like, it's more like Appalachian music is for us on the West Coast.
got it.
But yes, I mean, we'd be completely remiss without talking about Fairport Convention and Sandy Denny and Richard Thompson and,
But this is
the legends here.
and this album though, like JSD strikes me as specifically very Scottish.
Yes, very, very Scottish. I mean, I don't know if the guys that recommended this in the thrift store were like, "Hey, let's give this American guy a real Scottish album." But I mean, I was looking at stuff there, like typical stuff, like King Crimson and stuff, and they were like, "Well, this is the one that we really love, and we can't believe we have a copy of it." And I'm like, "Eh,
Cool.
that's all I need, I just
Sure.
want a recommendation."
Well, and
And
I have a connection to not my next pick, but the one after that because listeners may know or not, but I did study in Scotland for a semester, and I had a similar path in that I went to a record shop. Granted, mine was a CD shop, but I didn't ask anybody. I just was looking around, trying to find something uniquely Scottish, and that's a whole other story. And I did find something that is now very special to me. So that's
nice,
coming. But I
nice.
understand what you mean, and I understand your desire while you were there. Kind of like you said with Iceland, that you were trying to find something
Mhm.
that's local that you can take back and remember the
Yeah.
feeling of being there.
Yeah, well, we would go from here to the Faroe Islands, not Iceland, although common mistake.
I'm
So I
sorry,
got
the
this on this.
Faroese. My mistake.
It's okay. It's okay. They get that all the time. So this came from the same trip as oh, I cannot remember her name, but we covered her, the Faroe
Gudrid
Islands artist,
Hansdottir.
Gudrid Hansdottir. Yes, so very Faroese. But yeah, well, let's see. Should we jump into some of the tracks here?
Yeah, I just got to say, I really enjoyed the variety on this album. It is so satisfying to listen straight through. Honestly, this one took fewer spins for me to really kind of grab onto it than some other ones. It just was, there's something very familiar. Part of it is the traditional aspects of it, but um, I just thought it was super cool how they had these kind of like 60s folk Dylan-esque things going on, but also jigs and reels and kind of this prog stuff like the title track. Just a really great variety.
Okay, let's start. So the album is called Country of the Blind. So I'm not going to say that had a lot to do with Doc Watson and him being blind, but it's a nice springboard here. So we start off with this beautiful track. I should have my notes up. There we go. And it's slow. The theme of the track is very progressive, not as in progressive rock, but in its lyrics. It's singing about in the country of the blind, happiness is free, at least for those that cannot see.
In the country of the blind, happiness is free, at least for those who cannot see.
So it's a progressive message here and a half, and it is an amazing title track. It is written by Sean O'Rourke, the main guy, so it's not a traditional cover or anything, but it's just this rich track, amazing recording, such a good. I imagine this on an audiophile level is really great, but it sucks you in right away.
Yeah, a couple things on the recording quality. So I actually do kind of find this to be a prog type track. I don't know what like the definition is, but I find this to be this. There's a couple songs on here that are almost kind of Lord of the Rings feeling to me. Maybe that's what
Certainly.
I'm getting after. It kind of feels like fantasy music, like this one, and
Sure.
then the one near the end, the caterpillar one, the cousin caterpillar.
Mhm.
It's like Tolkien,
Okay.
but this one is
Okay.
interesting. I feel like the bass uh, it is completely missing. I guess because it's a stand-up bass, but I feel like there's a lot of treble in this mix, and so I was like wishing that I could hear this, like the audiophile version of this album. Like even a couple
Yeah.
songs later, the I think it's Sarah Jane where there's like a bass solo. You can't even hear a thing. And
Yeah.
so that
Well, I
to
mean,
me shows the limitations maybe of it being recorded, I don't know where it was recorded. I guess I just feel like that's feels like a miss to me because the music is so good and like the percussion is like so up front and sounds so good. And I'm like, oh, I just need the low end, you know?
I gotcha. Well, I mean, that's always difficult with music, because depending on your system's parameters or how you have an equalizer or whatnot, I mean, you can listen to it as mastered and you can play that at any volume or you can master it yourself, right?
Right. And that's what I do. Like
And
I turn up the bass when I'm listening to it and it sounds a lot better.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think even listening to this on AirPods that are sitting on your desk and cranked really loud, it still sounds okay.
It's a
Uh,
great track. I love the drum fills in this. They're so good.
Yeah, it just sucks you in right away. The next track, Coolies. So I did a little bit of research of this. There's 199 recordings of this. It is a traditional reel.
So, fun fact, can I go on a little musical tangent here? Because I didn't
Yeah, please do.
prior to today, Casey, I did not know the difference between a jig and a reel. To my shame.
Hmm.
A jig is a 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. A
Okay.
reel is a 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So it's a bum
Hmm.
bum 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 versus da 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 da. So
Gotcha. Yeah, that
that
makes
was super
sense.
helpful for me. Thank you, internet and our AI overlords for educating me today. But yes, I was like, I mean, everyone loves a good reel, Casey.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, and this is one of our first examples of I'm going to go off on a small tangent here myself. So my wife and I do contra dancing, and contra dancing is generally to live music with instrumentation very similar to this, and
Sure.
it is Irish, Scottish, French Canadian, all sorts of things. And it has a collar like square dancing, but it's much older and it is more of a courtly dance. So you would
Mhm.
see people in courts doing it. But the music, like this, makes me think of contra music. The
Uh-huh.
fiddle is very prominent, and the fiddle is very prominent in, I think, all traditional music. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean that's where the melody
Especially
is.
Celtic.
Yeah, that's where you get the
Exactly.
melody.
It's
And
the
that's why
leader.
we talked about Doc. He all of a sudden brought the fiddle melody to the guitar, which was very novel.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, I one of my favorite things that I got to do while I was over in Scotland was I got to go to a ceilidh, like an actual real ceilidh, like a
Hmm. Hmm.
square dance, contra dance, they
Yeah.
over there, and it was unbelievable because these were Scottish people, and I was just there, fly on the wall. I mean, dancing, of course, but
Hmm.
trying to. But I just
Right.
remember the whole evening. I had no idea what to expect. At one point, a pipe and drum band came in. It was like halftime, and the pipe and drum band. Imagine you're in like a cafeteria, and imagine how
Yeah.
deafeningly loud it was.
Oh yeah. This contra dancing here in Ukiah has been going on for a very long time, and we've been doing it since well before pre-pandemic. And it is a lively dance. I mean,
Yes.
you see people drenched in sweat. I've been completely unable to barely walk afterwards. It's wild. It's wild stuff. People think it's old-fashioned and kind of old farty kind of stuff, but it is not. It is great exercise. It'll
Well,
keep you breathing.
and you talked about how it brings together the generations, which I think is so cool.
It does. It is a cross-generational dance. And yeah. So Contra, the music of this band and the music of the Celtic traditional music we're covering right now just makes me think of this dance that I still do to this day with my wife in my hometown. Uh, and second Saturday of the month, Methodist Church. It's amazing.
A world away from Scotland here, but you guys are
Yes.
doing it.
Yeah, I don't know why it's here. It's been going on here for a very long time, so
That's
it's really
great.
something. And it changes every month because the caller will be good, the band will be good, or not the greatest combination of this too. So, so let's move on from the Coolies, which is an instrumental, I believe,
Yep.
and we're going into Childhood Memories, another Sean O'Rourke penned song. Uh, don't have my notes up at the minute moment, but
Well, I can tell you this is my
beautiful swells,
yes,
cello, beautiful.
beautiful. This is my favorite song on the album.
No sweet woman have I had to love, or have I childhood memories to hold? You're feeling something the same thing as me, a place you've been and again you want to be. The trees grow high.
I find it so poignant and beautiful, and I mean the topic, of course, childhood memories. And you look at a title like that, and you think, oh, this is going to be cloying. This is going to be, you know, I don't know. I find it very heartfelt, and the vocal,
Oh yeah.
it kind of feels like Scarborough Fair, Girl of the North Country. Like it has that kind of an early 60s Greenwich
Hmm.
Village kind of feel to it, but with that lilting the vocal. This is the best vocal on the album as far as I'm concerned. It's
Okay.
the chords are kind of hard for me to make out at first. Once I heard the song a few times, I was like, okay, now I get the chord progression. But it's something about the recording quality where it needs the bass for me to orient myself musically. So
Okay.
that's why this one took me a while. But like I said, once I kind of had the equal, like once I had the levels right, I mean, I love this song. This is like the best discovery
Yeah.
for me off of this whole thing.
Well, I mean, part of this pick, besides it being a good springboard, it was kind of pitched at you. You know, I swear I sent you, and we'll get to the track, but there's a cover on here that I know I sent to you maybe a couple years ago, but it's different when you get into the album. And this being their first album of, they only had, two or three, and they returned in the late 90s. But I do believe this is the JSD album to own with great
For sure.
certainty. Um, and on that note, we'll jump into what I can only refer to as one of the most baffling recordings next, and that's Sarah Jane, uh, which sounds like they're playing in the background the Coconuts from Monty Python.
Yeah, there's some wild percussion on this thing.
I've got a wife and 6 little children, and we take a trip on the big van, telling our Sarah Jane. Got nothing to do but sit around and sing and talk about my Sarah Jane. I talk about my Sarah Jane. Talk about my Sarah Jane. Got nothing to do but sit around and sing and talk about my Sarah Jane.
Yeah, is that a glockenspiel? Is that what a glockenspiel sounds like? Because I don't believe so.
No, I think the Glockenspiel is on the Dylan cover, but yeah,
Okay, okay.
this is catchy.
It's
It's
just
almost this is almost too catchy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it also does not sound like he's saying talking about my Sarah Jane. It sounds like same old Jane. Like, and this
Yeah,
one really is infectious. It gets in your head.
it does. And yeah, it's interesting. There's a couple of like Appalachian songs that are like pretty Saro. So I think that that was just kind of what you
Hmm.
would
Yeah,
that's how you would pronounce the name, Saro Jane. So
yeah,
I like
it
it.
must be.
To me it's just like too, I don't know. If I'm going to choose, I love the kind of mystery of the title track and like childhood memories. This one's like so straightforward, it's almost like not really my thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit of throwaway. It's not written by the band or traditional. I didn't have a chance to look it up, but it says Garrett Dash Fuller. So it might be a cover of another Celtic band. I mean, who knows? Those aren't names from Fairport Convention. So, um, and then the next one here, track five, Old Time Heartaches. Uh, Definitely, it's one where it's first we hear the banjo prominently.
You know what there will be, and you know what you'll find. Pain in your heart, and grieving in your mind.
And it's a real melancholy one. It's a pretty folk ballad, but very minor chords. And a
Harmonica
beautiful
on this
track.
one.
And then, should we jump into the next one? I guess we're
Sure.
going through all these.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is a pairing of two parts. So it's Nancy slash Jenny picking cockles. Now that sounds like Irish more than anything. But so the Nancy part is just a really beautiful violin intro, I believe,
Yep.
uh, followed by a full-on high-energy instrumental. Full-on makes me think of Celtic or contra music, and it just like just goes, you know.
I love it when the
So
drums kick in on this one.
yeah, people, people that haven't experienced this type of music. I mean, most people have in some way, but I think when people hear stuff like this, it's hard to attach themselves to it. Sometimes, you know, I think that a lot of Latin music has more feelings of these kind of tones. You know, um, these are attached to dance, you know, for
Yeah.
me, a lot of these. And that's what I mean by some Latin musics are so attached to the dance
The
that
rhythm,
they're not
yeah.
separate, you know.
Hmm.
The rhythm and how people move and dance specifically with each other a lot of times to the music.
Yeah.
So it is a different realm of music that's not in pop.
Sure. And to your point, it makes sense that the violinist is kind of like the band leader in a way because like the intro to this one is so intricate and a lot of effort went into that arrangement. And then going into the dance song, it's very
Yeah.
satisfying.
Yeah, exactly. It's like starting with the guitar solo, right? And then just let's go. We know the rest is easy now, right? Um, the next track is the last track on side one. That helps because I'm staring at the record. Wonders of Nature. Just a pretty little vocal, emphasized vocal track, I would say. Really quiet guitar picking on this one.
You remind me of a flower with petals soft and white. Your heart is deep within me, shining through the night. You remind me of
Yeah, it's got that really cool progression with the kind of like you're not expecting it, but it's like I can hear it in my mind, but it's the you're in the major key, and then all of a sudden there's like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting. So
yeah,
they're
yeah.
throwing in those little kind of again, that's what makes me think of this. I don't know if prog is the right word, but there's just these moments where it's a traditional song, and
Hmm.
then suddenly you
No, I
realize
mean,
that it's 1971.
yeah, I think it's a tricky word to use because, you know, for the time it's progressive, it's prog, but generally when I throw around the terms prog, I'm thinking Rush and Yes and ELP, which is just a genre of rock that was more out there and more progressive for what rock was doing. But anything could be. I think of this as having some progressive lyrics, and I think of this as definitely having some progressive traditional sounds. So yeah.
Yeah, and I guess when I say that, I'm thinking more of like the Fairport Convention, like Genesis, kind of like
Hmm. Hmm. They're
part of
definitely
it.
prog, yeah.
So that's kind of where those moments take me.
Oh yeah. No, I mean you're not wrong. But all right, so we're gonna flip the record here. Hey, look, I'm gonna show the back, which is really bland and really thin because it's a UK, like so thin. This album starts off side two with a Bob Dylan cover that is what I sent you years ago, I believe.
when the rooster crows at the break of dawn. Look at your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason I'm traveling on. But don't think twice, it's alright.
And what are your thoughts on this Dylan guy?
I love it. It's a very strong cover. I mean, a whole lot of people have covered Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. Understandably, it's one of the most fun Dylan songs to play. The progression is just so satisfying. I it makes sense to me that after Childhood Memories, which sounds exactly like Girl of the North Country, that they would kind of do a nod to Dylan in this way. What
Mm-hmm.
it reminds me of, there's a really good cover of this song. Um, I could probably like there's probably like 10 or 20 Dylan covers that I've heard that are just exceptional. This one reminds
Okay.
me of one of those. It's by John Martin, Martyn. It's the exact same feel as this,
Hmm.
totally acoustic, very gentle. Because, like, if you listen to Dylan's, not only is it much less produced, it's a lot more basic instrumentally, but it's also a lot more biting. Like, his version is almost like a
Okay.
comedy song, track where
Okay.
he's doing the Woody Guthrie thing. Is like, if and you don't know by now, like, he's putting on that persona. Whereas some of these covers of the song actually elevate it to a better song than Dylan's original performance
Okay.
because
Right.
they're able to, flesh out the instrumentation better,
Yeah.
fill it out, make it feel more like a true anthem, which Dylan didn't really do.
Right. So the Jim Martin guy is definitely not covering this version.
He might be. I'd have to do some research.
Might
I
be.
honestly forget where I came across the John Martin version. I've just heard it. It just reminds me of this. Same kind of like Celtic arrangement.
So this was recorded in 71. I'm staring at it. Craig Hall Studios, Edinburgh. Um, when was Don't Think Twice recorded? Like maybe 68, or is it even earlier
No,
than that?
it was earlier than that. I want to say it
Okay.
was on
Okay.
I think it was on Freewheeling, which was like 63.
Okay. 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 And amazing cover, no doubt. So, track nine is Darling Corey, which I believe might be a murder ballad. I don't know if you dug that deep into it. It is a traditional song.
Wake up, darling Corey. What makes you sleep so late? The highway robbers are coming, and they're waiting outside your gate.
So this was the one that made me realize what a brilliant pick this was coming after Doc Watson because,
Huh.
Doc there's a couple of songs in his repertoire that directly come from this melody, this Darling Corey. So one of them is Little Maggie.
Hmm.
That one is where, yonder stands little Maggie with a dram glass in her hand. So it's about, and then the other one is that banjo one from Doc's album, the Country Blues, the one that we were saying just like
Okay.
transports you
Yeah.
musically. And so, but honestly, this song, it's like Darling Corey, like both, it's like the origins of both of those Doc songs are here, and then they kind of are these
Hmm.
branches of a tree, and
Right.
it's fascinating to hear the Scottish version, of this
Oh yeah.
very traditional song.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad. I knew there was that overlap here. Um, and this is, like you said, another one of the traditional. But wow, like really, you can see where it's coming in from this sound. Now, I don't know what a traditional version of this sounds like, but I know what the JSD version sounds like. Uh,
Yep.
and you can see how these guys are doing their take, and this same music is coming over to America. Long before there's a JSD band. So it's
Yeah.
almost like these are just they're both takes and they're almost in time.
I know it's
Um,
so interesting to hear because the Doc album was in the 60s and then here we are early 70s, but it's like in both cases it's the traditional song. So it's really cool.
yep. This is the origins of sampling right here. This is how it is. No copyright,
Yeah,
no
and of
no
course
lawyers, no infringing.
the lyrical content of course is completely different in all three of those songs, but they
Yeah.
they took this old melody and adapted it,
Hmm.
and I love hearing how that can happen.
Yep. That you'd be making a lot of royalties if your name was traditional. Uh, really, really cool overlap there. The next one, which is traditional as well, just really feels like on the title alone, Morning Dew, like a Appalachian traditional American track, which it is. And so there are nods here to traditional songs from America as well,
Hmm.
covered by this very Scottish group, you know.
Well, and this is one where I was looking up the difference between a jig and a reel. Well, this one goes from a reel to a jig halfway through. So I was like, oh, it's like the immediate answer to
Nice.
my question. It's like, there it is.
Nice. And the jig is like the break, and then like it's where you pick up your dancing too, because it's faster times,
Yep,
right?
that's right. Exactly.
See, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. So, if only I was an experienced caller too. So those are the people that call out the steps to the dance in contra or square dancing or English country or any of these dances.
Yep.
There's always someone telling you what to do, and then
Critically important.
usually it's 64 beats and then repeat. So you only learn like four or five or six dances and then you just repeat them all again.
Yep.
And square dancing being American is a little different because it can get even more involved because they don't generally have the repeats. But so you can see this music is for those of you that know nothing about folk dancing is very tied. Uh, we're going over it lightly here.
It's
We need
just
to
a
get
great
Adrian.
it's a great social experience. I mean, you can see how,
Oh yeah.
centuries ago, I mean, this is where you would dance with all the eligible, young people in the
Yep.
village and try to find your mate.
Hmm.
It's just a cool tradition.
Oh yeah. This is community and yeah, as I was gonna say there really quick, shout out to an old friend, Adrian. She does the whole English country thing here on the coast, the thing called LARP dancing, where they just go dance for a week straight, which is wild. So I'm too scared, and so is my wife, and for good reason. I mean, that's too much. But anywho, so then we got track 11, Cousin Caterpillar, which has some funny like la 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 background vocals. That's what I wrote in my notes.
My cousin has great changes coming one day he'll wake with him in the wings. My cousin has great changes coming one day he'll wake with him in the wings. Doop dop, dee doo dop, dee doo dop, dee doo dop.
Yeah, this one's a little wild. This is the one that reminds me of like, oh yeah, it's right. This is the early 70s. It's very like, again, Tolkien is what comes to mind. It sounds like something that like would
Oh yeah.
be, in the pages of Lord of the Rings, and then you have to make up your own tune, that sort of thing.
Yep. And then it just ends on a track called Over and Over slash Hope, which seems to be just a little strumming at the end, but it's an upbeat with a banjo.
Again and again, I'll bring right to the end. I'll sing over and over again. And when you said it, you'll never forget it. Go over and over again. Over and over and over and over and over again.
It's more of this very Celtic traditional sound.
And
You
super
know.
catchy. And it's a good closer. It's a good like
Yeah. Yeah.
sing along to close it out. It's very satisfying.
So we may never know what it was like. I can only imagine it was like the Beastie Boys opening up for Madonna, seeing J.S.D. band open up for Ziggy Stardust. But, there's no footage out there, I don't believe. But I mean, it's cool that he took them out, and I'm sure they were greeted with a lot of kind of strange looks. But I mean, that's the history of opening bands, right? I mean, they got to tour with Bowie when he was Ziggy. I mean, who else got to do that?
Yeah, especially on that tour. I mean, that's pretty
What a
good.
guy.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed this,
Amazing.
Casey. Thank you for taking us back across the ocean. I love Scottish music, and this is a great band, that a really cool discovery.
It really is. And if you love this, check out Fairport Convention. Check out the Pogues. As far as I know, Irish Celtic just has a penny whistle, but it's mostly the same instrumentation, maybe an accordion. But yeah, very similar, very similar.
I feel like
And I love it all.
these guys could have had a bigger impact like stateside if they had had like a charismatic lead singer or something that was memorable about them. As it is, it's just
Yeah.
a very pleasant and again satisfying experience to listen to. But I can also understand how they kind of got forgotten.
Yeah, I don't think they had any success in America. I don't even think they came to America.
Yeah.
I don't know that for a fact. So there's very little on this band.
Yeah. Well, it's a good one to dig
Very little.
up. So thank you. But yeah,
Indeed.
so
Check it
I do
out.
have a Scottish connection, but in the interest of keeping things, keeping variety on the old podcast, I'm going to save that one for probably, I don't know, we'll see. It's coming soon. But in the meantime,
Okay.
this is not another blind connection, I promise. But this album does have Braille on the cover,
Uh, yeah.
and this album would be Stevie Wonder's Journey
Yes.
Through the Secret Life of Plants. Um,
That is awesome.
You sent this to me, and I was like, huh,
Yeah.
okay. Gave it a try. It starts out a little slow, but then I found myself listening to it more and more. It's a double album. I found myself
Hmm.
listening to it more and more, and now all of a sudden I've gotten used to these like themes, and I'm starting to really get into it. And look
Hmm.
at Stevie there; he's so happy.
Yeah.
Um, this
Yeah.
is great. This is brilliant. I love this.
Yes. Awesome. I was
It,
hoping you would, and let's get into it next time. And I can't wait. Awesome.
I'm gonna go plant a garden so that we can, so that I can come to you live from my garden as we talk about the secret life of plants.
Nice. 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 I love it. It
All
is an
right.
album written to plants, I believe. So
It's unlike anything else, but it's very rewarding.
I will add this, not to hint at too much else, but this came out after Songs in the Key of Life.
Oh, the Plant album. Yeah. So it was like Inner Visions and then Songs in the Key of Life and then the Plant album.
Hmm.
I think there were
Barry
some others
Gordy's
in
got
there
some famous quotes.
because Stevie Wonder has like 100,000 albums, but I think
Yeah.
this is part of the 70s peak and it's yeah. Come with us. Join us on the adventure. Join
Oh
us
yeah.
on the journey through.
Hit a dollar bin. Find your own copy.
You just got to get past the creation. Anyway, it's fine. We'll get
Yeah.
into it.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone.